It's Thursday, November 13th, 2025, and I call this meeting of the Trophy Club Planning and Zoning Commission to order at 6 p.m. Let the record show there's a quorum present. This is public comment section. This is an opportunity for any citizens to address the commission on any matters pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 551.007. The commission may not discuss or take action on matters not listed on the agenda. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes of time, or the time determined by me. Jackie, has anyone signed up to speak tonight on anything publicly?
Yes, sir, the mayor's here.
The mayor's here. Okay, mayor.
The mayor, if I can speak.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
3 minutes. Start the timer.
Where's the time? There you go.
That's it, yeah.
Okay,
You need to
I am
proceed,
Jeanette Tiffany, but mostly I'm here as the mayor representing our council on behalf of the council to say thank you for your service. I always like to do this to begin the new year. And there's just something wonderful about seeing new faces on the board, but also you're very strong. You could be council. I mean, you could just sit up here and be the council too. So we appreciate your service. We appreciate your deliberation and doing the right thing for the town of Trophy Club and for working with people like you have in your audience today and making sure that we keep Trophy Club a great place to call home. And the P&Z, of course, is a significant board in helping us to do that, working with Matt and working with our town manager. Thank you again for your service and look forward to all that's to come in the year 2026. It's going to be a good year, isn't it, Matt and Brandon? It's a good year. So enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, now we're going into the regular items. Agenda item number 1. It's the introduction of new planning and zoning commission members in orientation training, presented by Matt Cox, who's the Director of Community Development.
All right, good evening, and thank you, Mayor, for coming in. The first slide just shows all of the new people, so welcome, Mr. Ben, and everybody else has been on here before. All right, we're just going to go over this real quickly. Most of y'all have been on the board for a while. Overview of the commission. So established to advise town council on physical development. Consists of 7 citizens appointed by the council. Members serve 2-year terms, staggered appointments, and town council appoints the chair and vice chair. The purpose, y'all do serve as an advisory board to the town council, address zoning and planning of land and public improvements. We're going to get a good taste of that this evening. Provide input on streets, utility, and civic improvements. Recommend annexation plans and regulatory ordinances, as we did, about 2 months ago on the annexation. Powers and duties. Recommend a comprehensive master plan for town development. Conduct periodic reviews of the master plan, hold public hearings on zoning changes, recommend changes to zoning plans, maps, and ordinances. You do review and act on subdivision plating proposals, ensure land development aligns with comprehensive master plan, hold hearings and meetings as mandated by town council, and lastly, you provide recommendations based on collected information. I'm just bringing this up because I've been asked before. You'll see on our recommendation, it's always recommending approval or recommending denial to council. So you're not approving anything, you're just recommending approval. So y'all are vetting things that are going to council.
And real quick, and our town attorney, if you're here, he would kind of emphasize the importance of actually getting to an affirmative vote in the recommendation, right? That no matter what the recommendation is, that there be the number of required votes to be able to pass that on it. So whether it's a vote to so if you vote to approve and that fails, you should turn around and vote to deny and then have that pass on it, so that there's a definitive action taken that has reached the consensus of the P&Z.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Meetings and votings. Meetings are typically held on first Thursday of each month as needed, so this is obviously the second Thursday. It gets a little squirrely when we get to November, December with Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we work the P and Z meeting to make sure that we've got 30 days or less to the next council meeting in December. So you'll see a lot of times in November and December, we may not be adhering to this. All meetings are subject to Texas Open Meetings Act, and a quorum is a majority of members, which is 4. Key responsibilities: ensure compliance with state laws and town ordinances, uphold the town's vision through zoning and planning efforts, and support town council in achieving development goals. And I'll just reiterate what the mayor said, is the Planning and Zoning Commission does play a vital role in shaping the future of our community by helping guide responsible growth and development. The town sincerely appreciates the time, dedication, and thoughtful service of each volunteer who contributes to maintaining the quality and character of our town. Y'all have any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Matt. We will move on to agenda item number 2, which is case PD AMD -25-004, PD 27 amendment and R15 rezoning of the trails. We're going to conduct a public hearing on this and consider recommendation of town council on Rose rezoning request made by Foxwood LLC to amend Plan Development District 27 to rezone a portion of land currently zoned R15 Single Family District and to rezone recently annexed property classified as R15 Single Family District to permit development of the trails, an 18-lot single-family residential subdivision on approximately 7.603 acres, generally located north of Macquarie Street and Milson's Point Drive within the town of Trophy Club, Denton, Texas. Okay, it is 6:07. We're going to call the public meeting to order.
Okay, I'm going to give you the world's fastest Cliff Note version. You've got PD 27, and you've got this amendment, and we're adding that into PD 27. So that's your overall of what we're going through this evening. So, as Mr. Biggs said, the subject property consists of 2 zoning districts within approximately 7.6 acres. A portion of the property is located already in PD 27, and it's zoned for lot type 1 and 3 lots. And we'll get to it in a minute, but the zone 1 lot is a real large lot, and so we'll get to that in just a minute. The other 2 portions are zoned R15, so if you recall, one of them was the old gas well site, and that was already zoned. And then the new annexed portion, so when we annex something into the town, it automatically just becomes R15 until permanently zoned by the governing body of the town. The proposed zoning will accommodate 18 single-family lots ranging in size from 13,000 square feet to 23,000 square feet. The zoning amendment is in the neighborhood 7 of PD 27, which currently allows 222 type 3, those are 8,400 square foot lots, and 1 type 1, which is a minimum 12,000 square foot lot. So on the diagram, the purple, I think we said lavender, that's that 1 type 1 lot that's minimum 12,000 square feet. And then everything, there's my cursor. So everything in number that you see that's in 7, that's all highlighted with the yellow dotted line around, that's neighborhood 7, predominantly all type 3 lots, which are 8,400 square feet. The application for rezoning includes PD standards presented for PD 27, where an amendment to PD 27 to allow the addition of approximately 4.88 acres into PD 27. All right, I'm going to give you a quick summary of the amendments to PD 27. So this is all coming from the applicant. I know y'all had, it's like 100-something pages, but I'll just kind of go through the things that were changed. Everything else in PD 27 stays exactly the way it is. So Number one, Exhibit A, the legal description shall be revised to add a new tract for approximately 4.88 acres, which was recently annexed into the town limits, and approximately 1.359 acres for the gas well site. And we'll verify the acreages with the applicant. Number two, Exhibit B, the project location shall be updated to reflect the additional acreage for Neighborhood 7. Okay, number three, but section 4, we start getting into the lot types. And so lot type 3 shall be amended to create a lot type 3A. All regulations will be identical to lot type 3 with the following exception. So we've got highlighted under the area regulations for garage, may not face the street, may not face street unless set back at least 25 feet. So that's their request is 25. In PD 27, it states 30. They are keeping the 50-foot setback from the side street right away, though. That's due to some lot configurations, and we talked through that as well. Section 5, so staff recommends adding the lot 3, or type 3A lot, and you can see where we'd like to add it in there. It's going to add the 18 additional lots, which will change the total number from 223 to 241. In Section 5, neighborhood regulations shall be amended as follows. So we're just basically amending, adding 3 lot types instead of just the 2 lot types. So this would add a lot type 3A, approximately 18 lots, increasing to 241 lots. Section 6. So they're requesting the change from currently it's got an 812 pitch, and you'll see we've got some slides showing the photos of some renderings of the homes, and so their request is a 612 pitch or greater for lot type 3A. And then in Section 7, parkland open space requirements, where we'd like to add in the developer for the new portion of Neighborhood 7 shall construct a trail system consisting of 8-foot trailer pathway through the flowage easement that connects the proposed park sites. Where the trail utilizes sidewalks within the development, the sidewalk pathway shall be at least 6 feet wide. A pathway plan is included in Exhibit B. Staff recommends that on Exhibit F in PD 27 that be updated to reflect the trail alignment. Additionally, a new Exhibit G, pathway detail plan, proposed lots 1X and 21X be recommended to be provided and included in the amended PD. All right, and then under the concept plan, an exhibit titled Development Plan, it's just a clerical thing. We're asking them to change that from development plan to concept plan. On the proposed lot 1X, they show on the concept plan that providing a trail connection to the east and reflective lights shown on the concept plan. We'd like for them to include some details on that and including also trail specs and the connection details. On lot 11X, this is the area where they have the private lift station, and that's owned by the HOA and then also maintained by the HOA. We made a staff note on that the lift station should be screened with solid masonry wall and metal gates, and then of course add that into the PD as well. And then the proposed lot 21X. We're we're going to come right back to that one. We'll come back to 21X. Number 9, overall length or over length of the cul-de-sac. So our ordinance states 600 feet maximum length, and they've got approximately 1,060 feet. The fire marshal is reviewing. PD 27 does incorporate several subdivision ordinance provisions and design standards. So at this point, we feel like this is going to be okay. Paving and right-of-way transition from existing cul-de-sac to roadway extension will be reviewed during the plating and civil construction plan phase. Just a side note, we've got probably 75 to 80% of their civils already. Any variances to subdivision ordinance or engineering design standards will be proposed with plat applications. We've got several easements that will just need to be abandoned during the plating process. And as y'all know, it's always been requested to show the gas well heads and those capped on those preliminary plat and final plat. All right, going back to Lot 21X. So initially, we had a few issues on when you went to Denton County, and it showed whether it was owned by the town or it was owned by Mr. Woods. And we did very in-depth title surveys that were provided from the applicant, their consultant, and it does indicate that Lot 21X area is owned by the applicant. Since then, the landowner has sold off a portion of that property that's south of 21X, and so we've got an issue with the pedestrian access, and that's on our trail system. So I've got that down here. We've got a large team from them, so when y'all got questions, then they'll be happy to address these. Notice of public hearing has been distributed as required by the Town of Trophy Club zoning ordinance as in state law, and at the time of us sending these out, we received no letters in support or opposition for the zoning change. Dean, our attorney, is reviewing the ordinance as to form and legality, and staff recommends the Planning and Zoning Commission to conduct a public hearing and move to recommend approval to the Town Council on the proposed rezoning contingent upon satisfactory resolutions of items 1 through 9. And I'll be here for any other questions y'all have after you close the public hearing. And again, we've got quite a few gentlemen. Kurt, probably, if you want to come up and carry on. I've got this portion is next.
Good evening, Council. How are you guys? Thank you so much for being here, and we appreciate the opportunity to bring this great development to
Could
the...
you please state your name and address for
I
the record?
I can. My name is Kurt DeBose. I'm with Pentavia Custom Homes. On behalf, actually, of Mr. Greg Fox as well. He was unable to be here today because he was doing the duties of being a great dad. His daughter's, I think it was 16th birthday, was here, and that's a milestone, so we got to make some things happen. He is watching and listening from where he's at right now, but he did definitely miss and hated to miss this moment itself. Again, I'm with Pentavia Custom Homes and also helping with the development team of this property itself. You know, we can go through all the standards of Pentavia. We've won the awards. We've done some various things that are out there. I think the thing that we're probably most proud of is the Better Business Bureau gave us an award for having best place in marketplace ethics from the Better Business Bureau, and it was a torch award. It's something that I could highlight house and all the other stuff, but I think that integrity is something that matters the most, and I really appreciate that one. But our intention here is to build some beautiful homes in Trophy Club, like what is around, or even what we may think, because we're a little prideful, greater. We're excited about the development itself and to partner with Trophy Club. Our homes in our style, we have a thing called Pinta Via, which means the 5 roads of design. And we establish those from the physical road, the emotional road, the intellectual road, the social road, and then the personal road. Not to bore you guys, but if you have a chance and you can go to our website and take a look at who are we, you'll get an understanding of what our design principles are. We can design homes, or we can design something that's going to make an incredible impact to our customers and our families that are living in it beyond the structure. And so that's what those 5 designs are from themselves. I would like to say that we were incredible marketing geniuses in all of this. We're not. These 5 roads are actually the 5 roads of healing. I was a part of an event that took place many years ago that opened my eyes up to how much our families really do need to be surrounded by thoughtful intel and thoughtful design and how it impacts our family. And so that's where the name Pinta Via came from. We also have another gentleman here, Dean, that you guys may know. Dean has built several homes here in Trophy Club around the corner too, and is an excellent builder, has been building for many years. And it will be Pinta Via and Dean involved in this piece itself. That gets us to at least the presentation of the builder side of this, and we welcome any questions that you guys may have in terms of the development.
Is anyone else signed up to speak on this issue?
No, sir.
Okay. We're going to close the public hearing now. We'll get back to questions here in a minute. All right. It is 6:21. Okay, anyone have any questions, discussions for either the applicant or Mr. Cox? I have a question. Can you explain a little bit more to me about 21X, the lot? I mean, I see it here, and there's a pathway going across it. Is that the existing pathway?
Yes, it is.
So it is. So it's going to go across their land, actually, or it is right now.
It is currently, yes.
So it's currently going across their, Mr. Woods' land.
Yes, sir, it is.
So you mentioned that Mr. Woods sold another piece of property. Can you show us kind of where that is on this map?
Okay, so the green area is the newly sold property. That's all floodplain. And so, and I'll have Mr. Woods kind of maybe go into more detail, but when we originally saw this, down here, the lot 21X, we were under the impression that lot 21X was basically encompassing this entire rectangle area. And so we were told that almost from the beginning that they would dedicate that area back to the town. So the town, because again, we've got our trailways, system in there. So we would own it, we would maintain it, we would have control over it. And so really the monkey wrench in this right now is that we've got really 2 owners. So we've got an owner of 21X, and then we've got another owner on that. And so Mr. Woods and I have spoken, and do you want to elaborate on?
Sure.
Anna?
Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, Kyle Wood, 2015 Churchill Downs. I live in Trophy Club. What took place is I actually sold the green area, which is the bottom portion, and it's about 7 acres of floodplain. 21X, it turns out I guess I do own that easement on that trail system, which I'm happy to give full autonomy to the town on. But when I sold it, I guess from what I understood, there was an easement access. It turns out there's a small portion of 21X, probably roughly 10% of it, which is a similar entryway to that floodplain property around the back of this development. But I've never, experienced this, but I can tell you that I have no problem, and I'm sure the other party will have no problem giving full autonomy to the town on this easement or what have you. I'm kind of shocked that I own the trail system as it is now. And there was a lot of in-depth research on that, but that's as far as I know as of today.
What do you do with 7 acres of floodplain back there?
Investment, this, I don't know, I didn't want it. I didn't want it. I can't do anything with
Do you
it.
have any idea what he may be planning to do with it?
No, this gentleman has several portfolios of properties. I think he saw an inexpensive piece of property in Trophy Club and jumped on it. And he knows he can't build on it. He's gonna have to go through the town, so forth and so on. He knows he can't hunt it. He did his due diligence on it. But it's been cleaned up, and it's 7 acres down there of floodplain property.
Okay. Anyone else have questions for the applicant? Go ahead.
Do I push this? Is that-
No.
No, okay. First time, bear with me.
Sure.
So I had a similar question around trail access. So, how do we think about a private party owning that? Do we need to get some kind of guarantee that that can be available in town?
Matt, you can answer that.
Yeah, we can handle that at the preliminary plat stage, but for this evening and for council purposes, for the rezoning, we do need to have a definitive answer from the owners that's their intent. Because the last thing I want to do is get to the preliminary plat stage and then it go back and forth, to the owners because this is what was previously said. So,
So Matt, we're hearing from Mr. Wood
Yes, sir.
is the owner of lot 21X.
Yes,
And it's not a shared ownership with a business partner?
no, sir.
Okay, all right.
No, sir, I'm the sole owner of it. I was not aware today until this little piece of easement here. But again, I'm in full cooperation of giving 21X or whatever needs to be done in the legal, municipality to turn that over to the town.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
It did.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Any other questions?
So my question is just procedural. If we move this forward, do we condition that movement upon the grant of not only 21X, but also the additional owner of the property, that it will not, that will be delivered prior to the plating process, so that there's no question around any ownership of fragmented parts of the trail? Because 21X conveys the majority of that, but then again, the turn going down between the trees will be owned by somebody else. And so without that, I think
Right.
you put a hardship on the town on being able to
Yeah, right.
do the activities they need to do for maintenance, repair,
Right.
cleanliness, and everything else. So that's my
The
question.
question would then be, is that as the rezoning process procedurally, where we address that, or we address that at preliminary plat?
well, preliminary plat and final plat will have that
Will be a condition.
that has the legal,
Right.
verbiage, whether it's in the notes, but then also on the plat itself.
So you can't move the plat process along unless those items are
That's correct.
satisfied. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay.
And just to be clear is, so, again, the conversation that Mr. Woods and I had today, and it was unbeknownst to him as well, is the intent, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
But his intent is that was going to be an access easement for the other owner,
Yeah.
not him owning outright that portion, because it's about a 20-foot strip, and it just basically wraps
Yeah, it's
around all of that. So that's for, he and the other owner to get that stuff worked out. Once that's done and staff feels comfortable, then we can move forward with the plating
And then that will
stages.
appear in the notes on the plat,
Yes, sir.
right, before we send it for final.
Yes.
Does that help you, Terry? Okay. You want-
A general kind of off-topic question. Why the garage setback changing to 25 instead of 30? It's just one of the lots is squished?
Typically, come up to the microphone. When we do our studies on footprint of homes, when we got a 3-car and even 4-car garages, but typically we see about a 25-foot standard. In this particular situation, it's requiring it based off of the front setback and not off the front curb. And a lot of different PDs will have different variations. And so it is a very large lot. These are larger lots, at least a third larger, if not greater, than all the other lots around it in PD 27. And one of the things that we wanted to hold sacred was that backyard for the kiddos to play in and have a pool and all the things that come along with having a big backyard. And so that was part of the analysis that we were running on that.
Gotcha, thank you.
So before you go, another question, just real quick. As far as, I looked through all of the inventory of the homes that you offer, that you build and everything else. Is there a specific menu for this development, or is it all open for all inventory?
Well, at this moment, it's got to comply to PD 27 and all the requirements of it. We will be probably restricting even greater restrictions on this. We come from a world, and speaking on behalf of Dean here a little bit, in our custom luxury world, there's usually greater restrictions that are a part of this. And so with the value of the homes that are going in this, we're probably going to have some greater restrictions that are part of all of that.
And the other curiosity point was some of them were 2.5 stories.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an unusual mix for where they're being put with the neighbors around them. That's not indicative of that style of development, if you will.
No, it's given some flexibility, like the 6 and 12 pitch. With today's architecture and what we're leaning towards, things are getting thinner. It's a more eloquent way of designing the homes themselves. Our cornice packages and our roof packages are pretty thin versus this big, I don't want to get into the weeds here. You're talking to a nerd on construction right now, but instead of having big chunky lines coming along, sometimes we want to thin that up and give a really elegant look to it. And our pitches change a little bit. You'll also notice that we have quite a bit more windows going into the house. We want a ton of natural light flooding through the space. It's just it's a different take and look compared to what you would probably get from more of a production standard. When you go production, everything does come down to a cost factor and modeling on their side of it. And so you tend to see plate lines, the first initial height of the walls typically are at 8 feet. You know, typically on ours, we're at least at 10, sometimes they're at 12, right? So there's quite a bit more money going into the build of these homes, and so we're giving ourselves some room to do.
Sure, and I like the design components. I was just curious.
Yeah.
As far as the fit, if you will, into the existing neighborhood and without any type of screen wall that divides it, if you will, that makes it an enclave, as opposed to a natural organic addition to what we have already in place.
And I think that with our monumentation that we're proposing here, part of and again, we got to go through our plating and get through all of our exhibits on that, but we are proposing for some monumentation and stone monumentation up front. So it's going to feel like you're entering into, just like most of the community of Trophy Club, you're entering into another section, whether it be Turnberry or this is going to be the trails or so forth. Our goal is not to be so distinctively different that it doesn't adhere to the community standards themselves. But we do want to make sure that we have some grace space to be able to go in and eloquently get in some of these things that I've just told you guys about in our intent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One more for you before you walk off. Sorry. It's just about the roof pitch. So on the roof pitch, I mean, we're talking, you said the thinner profiles, I understand all that, but is it more also, I see two kind of radically different designs here, like what I'd call like more modern. Is that what y'all are more envisioning, or more of this kind of traditional?
I would say there's a mix of a traditional contemporary design that's taking place. I mean, and one thing that I want to state real quick, architecture should be timeless. So that's something that we get very bird-eyed on versus letting the numbers dictate what the architecture looks like from a budgetary standard. So we try to make sure that, yes, are we seeing greater windows going in? Are we seeing our pitches changing a little bit to create artistic style that's happening on it? Yes, we are. But we don't want to deviate from some of the standards that have lasted for centuries along the line that really creates a classical look and dwelling itself. So those are just some examples of homes that we have done themselves. We will, through our architecture control committees, have a standard that'll make sure that they're compliant with likeness so that we're not getting crazy. We really don't. I've seen developments, and I've actually built in some developments that I didn't really appreciate the fact that the homes sitting right next to each other didn't have some type of continual look to them all. But we didn't want to get into too much into a plug-and-play scenario where it's more like a Toll Brothers or production piece that's coming in. These are going to be custom.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Comments, questions?
I just had a general question, and probably more so for Matt. You shared the exhibit where we're seeing the addition of 3A, and what I think I read was the minimum lot that is essentially associated with what's being proposed today is 13,000, 12,000 square feet?
Minimum lot for type 3 is 8,400.
84. But essentially, it says in the materials that there wouldn't be a lot that's any less than X number of square feet. So I think it was,
Yeah, all of these lots are 13,000 to 23,000.
so in terms of consistency on what's presented on the materials, should we, in a reference to 3A lots, should the lot size be matching with that?
Not necessarily, because again, when we first got this, basically when it came to the counter, I don't know how long ago it was, 7, 8 months ago, you've got that decision, you look at what's being presented and you think, okay, do we establish this as a brand-new PD? So it'd be PD 38, I believe, would be, or does this fit in with PD 27? And once we went in and really dug into PD 27, and you find a certain lot type, and there's very little changes that you have to do to PD 27, it was kind of I'm not gonna say easier, but that's the way to go, because you have very little changes already to an existing PD, instead of starting from scratch, if that makes sense. Because there's very, very, very little changes, even like the 25-foot from the build line, that still puts you 50 feet from the property line. So,
This is my recommendation. I think there should be consistency through the materials on if we're referencing Lot 3A and whatever the minimum square footage is as far as presented. I just think it's good practice to make sure that's consistent. So that's just my recommendation for the group. And even, even as I'm kind of working through, purpose and intent and those related materials of what the development standards are. We're referencing type 3 development. I realize it's associated, it's kind of a sister development, but I think it could say type 3A in here and just make sure that we're being specific. I think it's important to have that consistency. Two other things related to what I'm seeing is I thought there was a reference. There's a reference to housing and commercial uses. Can you just elaborate on that real quick?
well, yeah, because PD 27 wraps all the way around, across from Byron Nelson High School, so that's Montessori, the church.
Okay.
It's, PD 27.
Just a point of clarity, but there's nothing here. I didn't see it, but I just wanted to ask and double check and make sure.
So going back to going to this table, is it what you're recommending, instead of combining 3 and 3A like we did on the same line? Would you prefer, or what you're asking is add an additional line 3A, minimum square footage 13, and just give it an all new line?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And as well for table 5-1, where you had kind of the vertical columns here, where I thought this was a great graphic, Matt, where you kind of showed, look, we're inserting 3A right in here.
Correct.
But just for consistency, you can see the minimum square footage for those, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Sure.
Well, here for 3A, what their associated minimum square footage is.
That's no issues? Okay.
I think it's a good point of clarification.
Yeah.
And one other thing, because I realize, we just talked about how big PD 27, unless there was anything else related to that, Matt.
No, sir.
Okay. I know there's not alleyways, and there's not alleyways in y'all's proposed development. Do we have alleyways in PD 27 anywhere? And the only reason why I'm asking, y'all probably look at me like, why am I bringing this up? There's a reference to, in the lighting section, it talks about alley lighting. And again, just, hey, for consistency and keeping things clean, if there's no point to having it worded that way, or if we don't need it in there, I just recommend for removing it.
We'll need to double check, make sure it's not referring to the commercial area
Yeah.
on that, but.
That would make sense.
That was
That-
my only thought was Montessori, all of
That-
that development down through there.
'Cause
that
they may
have
call-
That alley.
Correct, they may call the backside of, like where the donut place is. In fact,
Is that
they
is
may
that
call the
considered an
backs,
alley?
they may call the backside of that as an alley.
Okay.
And then over on the other side where the vet clinics and stuff are, because it's not a public street, those may be alleys in between each of those separate buildings. But I can look into that.
Okay. Yeah, nothing further from my end. Thank you.
Okay, anything else from anyone? Okay, is there a motion to approve case PD AMD 25-004 PD 27 amendment and R15 rezoning trails as presented?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second? Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And just for clarification, that includes our 9, okay.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, item number 3, case RP-25-001, replat for NISD High School Number 2, Block 1, lots 2R1 and 2R2. Consider recommendation to the Trophy Club Town Council on a replat request of approximately 1.374 acres of land within the NISD High School Block 2, School Number 2, Block 1, lots 2R1 and 2R2, made by the town of Trophy Club. The property is zoned NS High School Neighborhood Services, and community facilities are permitted in the zoning district and is generally located east of Bobcat Boulevard and south of Maddox Drive, town of Trophy Club, Denton County, Texas. Staff report, Matt Cox.
I'd love to ask you to repeat that.
R1, R2. It's over there. That one over there.
Okay, this is a quickie. So the purpose of this replat is to establish a separate lot for future conveyance to the Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1, the MUD, for ownership, maintenance, and oversight of the existing gated water tower site. The property is currently zoned NS Neighborhood Services, which allows community facilities within the zoning district. The replat does not propose any new development or changes to existing land use. It serves solely to formalize property boundaries and facilitate the transfer of ownership for utility purposes. Town staff has reviewed the proposed replat and confirmed that it meets all applicable requirements for the town subdivision ordinance and zoning regulations. Dean, our town attorney, has reviewed the replat as to form and legality. Staff does recommend Planning and Zoning Commission to move to recommend approval to town council on the replat request. If you have any questions.
Why did this come up?
Happy to oblige. So the town and the MUD have been working together for a period of about a year and a half for the MUD to expand its boundaries. So as many of you probably know, right, the MUD since its existence until January 1 of this year had boundaries that only included the southern portion of Trophy Club and kind of we'll call it maybe the older section of town, right? However, the new PID area was not within the MUD boundaries and was actually part of the water system up there was a separate water system than the water system that the MUD has. Now, the MUD has operated that water system for us by way of interlocal agreements for many years on that. However, and as a result, they also provide fire services. It's a long story, right? But they provide fire services, and then we had to, in order to get the funding for tax revenues for fire services, the MUD had to tax a portion of the town, and then we had to have the PID tax a portion of the town, put those two numbers together, and then work together to get the funding for it. It was a lot cleaner and easier to just have the MUD expand its boundaries to include all of Trophy Club be the taxing entity for the fire district, as well as giving us the opportunity to eliminate the town's water, the PID water system, and just entirely have the mud water system. The two systems are entirely integrated already for it, and so it just kind of made, instead of having this strange, both of us kind of working together on it, just made one entity in charge of all the water system. Also, it provides the opportunity for us to one day, with the obviously cooperation from the MUD, to take over fire services directly in that situation as well. So we're still working with them on that element of it. We haven't quite gotten to the point where that's ready to happen yet. But they are in the point of ready to go ahead and take over the town's water system to have, to be under the MUD system. So, in that process, right, we have to convey all of the water assets, water and sewer assets that the town owns in the PID area to the MUD district. Okay, many of those items are underground utilities on it. However, every now and then something sticks above the ground. And then on this case, right, where you have kind of a tower and you have a site sitting there, some land as well, we didn't need to own the underlying ground. We can go ahead and convey that to the MUD in the process here, as well as the tower, so that we don't have to be responsible for mowing right inside of there or things like that. They'll take care of it, as they have been this entire time. I'm just making sure that they have the clarity of ownership here. So that's why this one parcel is a little bit different than the rest of them, right? Because all the other items are either buried or it's just a pump station sitting above ground that we can just kind of say, this is now yours on that part. But this one, we had to actually set a different parcel, convey that, and then we'll convey that parcel to the MUD by way of an agreement later on, probably in January, February this year. So did that answer the question enough?
Most of it. So the town owns the tower right now.
That is correct.
That's correct.
And that, everything under it apparently.
Yeah, and then, and of course, after all of them expanding the boundaries, then these guys come in about 2 months later and then annex that. So then they had to, once we did the annexation with y'all and to council, then they went to the MUD board and got them to also annex that Shanklin property as well. So now we're pretty much, we're all encompassing everything in the MUD boundaries.
All right. Are there any other, doesn't that tower have some leases on it for cell towers or anything?
It does, yeah. So the town currently has cellular tower, cellular equipment leases on the tower right now.
So are you conveying that and the revenue from that?
No, so our intent is to not. We're going to be keeping, so as we convey the water tower to them, our intent is to keep the cellular equipment and the revenues associated with that, as we've been receiving for many years with the town of Trophy Club.
So that's not going to be an issue?
Well, that's a different question.
It's not an issue tonight.
It's not an issue
Tonight, no, it is not, no.
Okay, just thinking, in terms of,
It's a simple replat.
is it, okay.
So,
I understand that.
yeah, so with the feel of possible contestment that may be about this property, isn't it a ministerial function of the town to go ahead if this plat meets all of the requirements of the town, the ordinances and everything else?
Yeah, it does.
To move it forward?
Yeah, because
It's administrative, it's not personal, it's not discretionary.
correct, and that's basically my last statement. And y'all have seen dozens of plats and replats and preliminary plats over the years of me being here. Town staff has reviewed the proposed replat and confirmed that it meets all applicable requirements of the town subdivision ordinance and zoning regulations.
So as
So-
far as moving the plat forward, it's just a discharge of that function.
That's correct.
Correct, yeah, the plat is essentially identifying all the existing land, any structures on that land, anything that, currently we have cellular equipment on the towers. It's identifying where those are, that the town has those things for it. It also identifies all the utility easements that run into that property and things like that. So it's merely identifying all the locations of the world as it currently exists today. That allows us to then move forward with the MUD of conveying things through that document and having you be able to reference the particular lot that we're conveying and all the conditions with it.
Sure.
And I don't think I mentioned, but we're the applicant.
Oh, that's true.
So-
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
State your name and address.
the town is the applicant
So
on
just
this.
curiosity, Brandon, on any future attachments onto the tower? Do we still control that? Do we have that ability to?
That's a good question.
increase-
I don't know that I have an answer for that one right now on it. We need to look into it a little bit.
It was just a curiosity.
Yeah, I think the town's interest in the moving forward, right, is that at the end of the day, the PID, the PID residents and the bonds associated with all of that really funded the construction of that tower. That tower then is put to use for the purposes of the town on it. And as we convey the water tower to the district, it is to primarily preserve what we have with that so that we can continue to kind of receive, because we've signed long-term agreements, right, with these companies to be able to continue to receive the revenue for many years. Whether or not additional things can be attached to the tower or not, I'm not 100% sure on that. But ultimately, if things like that were, we certainly will work through issues like that with the mud and
Sure,
trench.
now, I was just thinking upstream, if we do take over fire services and we have to have additional radio communications
Yeah,
appended onto the tower, would we have that express right?
Yeah,
To go back in there and do that?
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we'd have to kind of go through and work through that process. Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Will this fix the hard water we have in this town?
No.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve case RP 25001 replat?
Motion made?
Have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second? Any further discussion? Okay, call one. Boyd, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, item number 4 on the agenda. Consider approval of the September 4th, 2025 P and Z minute meetings. I'm sure everyone's reviewed those carefully. Is there a motion to approve those?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, it is now 6:51 and this meeting is adjourned.